Alright, it's Saturday morning here, the 7th of September. So we are 6.5 days, be 7 days, I guess later this afternoon, but we'll call it 6.5 days since overseeding. So we'll do a little update here. So I had mats on some of these places. Look how tall the grass is. I mean, it's at least, some of it's already, 3 inches tall, some of it's 2, but anywhere these mats were at, it's way taller than the rest of it. So I guess those mats just hold moisture better. It's the only thing I can think of. So I also have spot seeded some spots. In the previous video, I mentioned how I got a 2-inch rain in 45 minutes. Some of it just didn't come up. I'm seeing absolutely nothing, so I had to wash. It's a little bit thinner in some spots than I really want it, but we'll see what happens here before I throw a little more seed on it or anything. Something like that. But I did have to touch up some spots. I mean, there was absolutely nothing. Here's one that I have touched up. It's got a little grass in it, but not anything major. I did see germination in 3 days and seen a good amount of grass. And when I say germination, I mean the root coming out. That's germinating to me. 4 to 5 days to actually start seeing grass. But obviously there was a mat here. You can see how tall the grass is. So we'll just have to see what happens if some more comes in or not before I touch it up. There is definitely some spots that's gonna have to be redone. There's no question about that. I did redo that one here, so it should be good to go on that. These spots right here, this is the slope. So I did redo these. There was absolutely no seed in here. There's a little bit coming in. So I guess this has been here about 4 days. You can still see the seed laying there. So that should be, I would say by tomorrow it'll be popping pretty good. I'm still watering normal. Today is probably going to be my last day of watering 3 and 4 times a day. I'm just gonna kick it back and do 1 good watering a day. Try to start minimizing disease pressure. Here's one. That's probably, it's got a little bit in the middle, but there ain't much there. So this is probably gonna have to be touched up, and I'll do that next week. Expecting more rain towards the end of next week, and that will be a better scenario for me. Not much in that spot whatsoever. Just not seeing any seed in there either, so I don't know what happened. So let's look out here in some existing grass, see what we can find. See this little, all this little grass right here. So existing grass, it's coming in good. This is another spot that I did go ahead and redo this one. It is starting to come in. So there's a lot of work involved in this. I've been at it for a week straight. We'll look at some more existing grass here, see what we got. There is some coming in here. That's right here. See all this new stuff here? I know it's hard to see on camera. But honestly, I'm probably gonna mow it towards the middle of next week, and then I'll spray it again with fungicide. Just the best case scenario, obviously if you've got a smaller yard, is to use something light to mow it. But you know, I can't mow all this with a push mower, so it's going to be what it's going to be. I'll just be careful and not go turning around on it. I'll turn around on the driveway and then go off the edge over here and turn around. I'll turn around in the rocks. I'm just not going to turn around on the grass, being it's new and fragile. But I don't have a choice much other than to mow it. Here's a spot that I did redo. And then so it's coming in pretty good. Like I mentioned, there is a few spots it's a little thinner. Like there's hardly none right here, but there is a new one poking through right there. So, you know, I just don't know. I'll look at it more towards the end of next week before the rain, and if I'm not seeing much, then I'll hit them again with a little bit of seed. Aerator done a fantastic job. I will say, you know, if you ever get a chance to use an aerator, it needs to be as dry as possible. Mine was a little wet, wasn't terrible, wasn't muddy or anything, but you know, it can just sit there and waller out a hole. So in my personal opinion, if you've got a yard that's pretty wet, I would core it before I use the aerator. But in my case, mine wasn't overly wet, and it done a good job. But there's some new grass coming in here, right there. So yeah, I believe it's going to turn out all right here. Still going to be some work to do. This was a bad spot. It's got some good amount coming in it. Not sure it's going to be quite thick enough. We'll just have to wait and see. my main concern is this over here. It was basically underwater, and there is a lot of grass coming up in it. I mean, this whole thing was bare dirt, and you can see all the grass coming up in it. So the aerator actually done its job there. I will say that for sure. Is there some spots that ain't gonna have any like that? There's a little bit in it, but not a lot. And then same goes for all this. I mean, there's quite a bit of grass. Like this spot right here, there's absolutely nothing. Maybe a couple sprigs, but you know, still got a few days, maybe it'll come in. If it don't, we'll just have to fix it. This right here, there is some coming in there, but the problem with this area is I don't think it was so much the rain. Like right here, there's nothing. I mean, there's a seed laying here, but there's not much of anything. The problem with this is my sprinkler head is actually up here, so this just barely gets any water off the other heads. So it's not ideal. I don't know why when I had irrigation style they didn't put the sprinkler head back this way. But here's a bad spot. It looks like it's coming in pretty decent. Maybe just a little bit of seed. We'll just have to see. I mean, it's only been 6.5 days, and some of it may be a little bit deeper than what I'm used to. I've never used the aerator to actually overseed. I've only used the aerator for bare dirt, but it's pretty impressive. This spot right here was completely underwater. There was 6 inches of water standing in this spot. And there's some grass coming in pretty good. So it's just a waiting process. Unfortunately, I'm not very patient. I'll just be completely honest. That's not one of my strong points. But overall, it's looking pretty good. It is looking pretty good, minus the nuts edge is still here. So I run the day before I done this, I sprayed 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. That's not, you know, it's hardly nothing. No granular. And 2 days ago, I put another 1/10 of a pound on it through my fertigation system. So some of you know what that is, but it's for the ones who don't. I can inject fertilizer through my irrigation water. So this spot got a little roughed up. It was a little wet, this spot was. I don't think it's gonna have any problems. It already looks way better than it did. So this is not a, you know, I've never seen this be a one-shot process. Not for me anyway. I've never been that lucky. There's always work involved after doing this. There's always spots to touch up. I mean, nothing's perfect. I'm not sure what happened right here. This almost looks like a something took a piss there. And this spot right here is notorious to wash. Water starts standing here, and it just, once it gets filled up, it'll just come right down through here. And this one's looking a little thin right here. So, a few spots to touch up, nothing major. We'll wait till closer to the end of next week. But yeah, just wanted to give you a little update here on your fescue, and just understand, you know, stuff happens, and this ain't a one and done deal. There's going to be spots that's going to have to be touched up. Going to have to mow it again. I mean, it is extremely tall, but there's you a overseed update. We'll look at this right here, where all this nuts edge is. This is embarrassing, but nothing I can do right now. So all this got burned up from the asphalt. Pretty good amount of grass coming in there. Surprisingly, I'm surprised a lot of this didn't wash away, and still may have to touch up some of it. Like this spot right here, there's quite a bit coming in, but if that's it, that ain't gonna cut it. But there's another spot that's pretty bad. But anyway, there's your we'll just call it a 6.5, 7 day overseed update. I guess maybe I can try to do a video first mow. But I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.